Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Italian Politician of the Week. I'm Ipernik, as usual. This is the last episode of July and what a month that was. Today we're closing off with Laura Boldrini, a former UN representative turned politician. She's arguably one of the most famous progressives here in Italy, but also one of the most hated, and not for her political positions. Before I get into that, I have to remind you to like and subscribe if you're new. Also be sure to comment whatever you are thinking about Boldrini, or if you have something more to add or a politician to suggest. I love to hear your comments, so right away. That said, let's start. Boldrini was born in Macerate, Marche, back in 1961. After she graduated law at Sapienza University in Rome in 1985, she started her career in communication and diplomacy. She worked at RAI, the Italian public broadcasting station, until she became the Italian representative of the World Food Programme in 1993, and from 1998 to 2012 she was the spokesperson for Southern Europe in the High Commissioner for Refugees in the United Nations. Then in 2013 she ran for the Chamber of Deputies in a small Green party which was in the same coalition as the Democratic Party. She won, however, due to her background and fame. The Democratic Party chose her to be head of the Chamber of Deputies. She barely won the title, only getting 327 votes out of the 618, though many celebrated her victory anyway, since she is only the third woman in Italian history to cover that role of president of the Chamber of Deputies. Now, where would Boldrini be in the political compass? Well, she is very progressive. She's also liberal when it comes to social standards. Furthermore, she is a strong advocate for feminism, LGBT marriage, and adoptions. She's pro-abortion, pro-immigration, and has very green economic policies. She's very similar to Alexandria Cortez in many regards. She even joined the Democratic Socialist Party for a few years, called Liberi e Uguali, free and equal, though it disbanded in 2018 for a series of reasons that I just don't have time to get into today. To put it briefly, the Democratic Party became more progressive, so many left, and also they got awful results at the last election, so yeah. Now all of you may be wondering, where's the beef? Well, to the surprise of everyone who voted for her and even used to like her, Laura Boldrini turned out a very unprofessional, dishonest, arrogant, biased, and entitled weasel when in the role of president of Chamber of Deputies. First of all, she would often interrupt or silence members of the Chamber of Deputies she didn't agree with while they were in the middle of speaking. Once she even went as far as to jump over passages of the legislative process just because she really wanted a law to pass. She is also known for wasting government money on non-essential things, such as giving access to top-tier private hospitals, spa centers, hotels, and whatever fancy stuff you can imagine to deputies and their partners or at taxpayers' expense. One time she went to South Africa for Nelson Mandela's funeral, bringing her guards, friends, and boyfriend with her in a private jet, while she wasn't even invited. All this, of course, she didn't spend a cent. We paid for it, and it was a luxury vacation. When questioned about her way of handling money, she either ignored a journalist or called security. As you can imagine, she was not very appreciated by the public, to the point that she got a lot of insults and death threats on a daily basis. She took advantage of this to portray herself as a victim of the patriarchy, and she talked about her experience in this feminist conference. In particular, she talked about how Salvini fueled the fire of hate against her. I love this clip mostly because it's in English and I don't need to add subtitles.
The other leader, Salvini, the guy today risks to become the Italian prime minister, in a political rally, he took an inflexible doll, and he said, sex doll, and he said, here we are, this is the president of the Camera dei Deputati, of the Chamber of Deputies. So, and other members of his party said, we have to send rapists to her house in order to make her smile again. Institutional figures, And this guy Salvini, for years, he wanted to link my name to crimes committed by migrants. Every time a migrant committed a crime, he put the hashtag Boldrini's resources. Every time there was a crime or a rape committed by migrants, hashtag Boldrini's resources. So this meant for me, thousands of threats and violence. And one day I received a bullet by mail. And that day I realized that we were entering into a new phase of violence, So, and also my daughter was threatened, and she had to change her name on Facebook. So imagine if you deal with certain issues and you are a woman, you have to take into account such a treatment. And I have to tell you, if I had been a man, I would not have been treated like this. I'm sure 100%.
Just to clarify, yes, Salvini did take a sex doll and pretended it was Boldrini. The Lega is not exactly a party to look up to in this political system, and as usual it went too far. Though I have to say Boldrini deserves most of the hate she gets. Today she is no longer president of the Chamber of Deputies and she's just a member of it. And she's also part of the Democratic Party. After she lost painfully against Salvini at the last parliamentary election, she's not as relevant as she used to be. I guess karma is real. To conclude, judging Boldrini by her curriculum alone, anyone who's assumed she's a lovely person with a lot of experience behind her. In fact, I was very disappointed when researching this video, to the point that I considered talking about someone else, but I think it is important for you to know how awful she was when she was in power. Now, that being said, it is up to me to choose the politician of the week, of course, but you know who chooses the politician of the month? You, that's right. After you finish watching, be sure to vote in the community section which episode was your favorite. I will see you next month with 4 more politicians. See you and take care.